Alright, hello everybody, it's your boy Crimson Reaper 5, back at it with another Duel Links YouTube video. And in this YouTube video, we're going to be reacting to Mekklord's recent video concerning the timer in Duel Links. Because when it comes to the Duel Links timer, there has been like a community split with half the community saying the timer is fine, while the other half saying that we need more time on the timer. Personally, if you want my opinion, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and say the current Duel Links timer is fine and it doesn't need to be increased. And I'll go into more detail like as I react to Mekklord's video. So if you haven't already, be sure to follow Mekklord. I'll link his video in the description below. And yeah, drop a like, drop a sub on the channel if you want to. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Crimson Reaper 5. I am the best Altergeist player. I know the deck inside and out. I have a lot of Altergeist content on the channel, so if you want to view that, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub. And yeah, let's get to reacting on Mekklord.
The other day, I was playing Trains in Ranked. I know it's not a really good deck or anything, but I kinda like it, and I kinda like testing it against all the more competent decks out there. One such deck is Salamangreat.
First off, I want to say this is really based. He's playing Trains. I really like that deck. I kind of want to get around to testing it myself, but I haven't gotten around to it yet because I don't like the format of like Salamangreat and Hero. But yeah, that's beside the point.
And sure enough, I ended up facing a couple of Salamangreat player, which makes sense because I genuinely believe that it is the current best deck of this format.
If you're not playing Salamangreat, you're playing Hero. They're literally the two best decks in the format right now.
And here I am playing
for February 2025.
Trains, and I'm honestly losing this game, you know? My opponent is more resources.
Okay, we can see Mekklord is clearly losing this game. The Salamangreat player has more resources
that I can muster. Their disruption is just too much for me to handle.
True.
But here I am winning this game anyway. And the only reason that I won this game was because they ran out of time.
See, the thing is, the timer in of itself is a win condition that shouldn't be discounted. That's why I think the timer's fine. Because you remember, you always have to play your outs. The timer is one of your outs.
This is not the first time that this has happened. It has happened to me even before. I've won a couple of games before thanks to the timer, and I've lost a couple of games because of that very same timer.
I've lost the timer too, lots of times.
But winning this very specific game at this very specific moment made me remember something that I think not enough people are talking about. And that thing is that the timer in Duel Links sucks.
I feel like there's some good things and there's some bad things about the timer. It doesn't necessarily suck, but I feel like it could be improved.
It just sucks.
I feel like saying it sucks is kind of like, you know, like it's kind of a bit much, but you know.
But Mekklord, you might ask, how does the timer in Duel Links work? Maybe you don't play Duel Links, maybe you don't know. Well, here is how it functions. You start the duel with 180 seconds,
which is 3 minutes,
regardless of whether you go first or second. That's 3 minutes. You start the duel with 3 minutes. You get a bonus 30 seconds with every turn passing, which means that the player going second starts the duel with 220 seconds instead of 180, which is not like 4 minutes, but it's closer to 4 than 3 minutes. And of course, if you ended the turn with 60 seconds, on the next turn you're gonna get 100 seconds, which is more than 1 minute. Except sometimes you only get like 20 seconds for some reason. I don't know what that happens, but I've just noticed that sometimes you don't get as much time as you're supposed to get. Sometimes you don't even get time at all. You just start the turn with 60 seconds, and that's it. Good luck. Have fun, I guess. I think it has to do with when you start the turn with less than 60 seconds, the game is more punitive, so it gives you less seconds or no seconds at all.
So here he's just going into like basic statistics on how the timer in Duel Links works, which pretty true, I guess. He's kind of right on the money here.
So you just have to do your whole turn under a minute for some reason? That's right. The more press fit time you are, the less you get of it.
Which is good because this... And I want to talk about his last bullet point here that says, that's right, the more pressed for time you are, the less time you get. Which, again, this is Speed Duel. You have to play fast.
Have fun playing Duel Links, everyone. Another thing I forgot to mention is, anytime you have an interaction...
Hey, look, there I am on the side. Where I said, hi, YouTube, that's me.
Like there's a trap card that you can flip, or you have a hand trap that you can drop on your opponent. You lose seconds. You lose like 1 to 2 seconds. Even if you click it as quickly as possible to activate it or not activate it, you just lose precious time for no reason.
So here he's saying, like, if you have, like, back row or, like, a hand trap, you, quote-unquote, lose time because the game gave you an activation prompt to activate it. And to that, my counter argument would be to, learn how your toggle button works. You have a toggle button, so you can easily, like, turn the toggle button off so you're not getting those activations. Because if you're playing like a ranked game or even like a tournament, you should have a general understanding of how your deck works. So, I mean, you should also have a decent idea of how your opponent's deck works in relation to yours. You should know how to use your toggle button to, like turn your activations on and off. Like, I mean, I'm an Altergeist main. Like, toggle button is my life. Like, I have to know the toggle button inside and out, and how my opponent's deck works, and where to best disrupt them. Like, it's not easy, but you have to like master how your toggle button works, so you're not, like losing precious seconds that you don't need to lose.
And really, now to be fair, the Duel Links Timer was designed with a completely different game in mind. When Duel Links came out in 2017, we were playing a very different kind of deck, you know? Here's what a turn of Duel Links looked like in 2018. And here's what a turn of Duel Links looks like now.
Here he's just showcasing. Here, Mekklord is showcasing like different turns in Duel Links between 20. I want to say 2018. What he said?
Now, here's what a turn of Duel Links looked like in 2018.
Yeah, he said 2018. And to this, I kind of disagree with this point, because the thing is, Duel Links was made with it being a mobile game in mind. I got my phone right here. But yeah, Duel Links was made with it being a mobile game in mind first and foremost, and with speed duel settings. So when you have like a mobile game, you're going to expect your players to have a fairly low attention span. So therefore, like, they don't want to deal with the Master Duel levels of solitaire. So that's why the timer is the way it is.
Kind of deck, you know? Here's what a turn of Duel Links looked like in 2018.
Duel Links was like never designed with complex combo decks in mind. It was designed to be a mobile game first and foremost, which attributes to the low timer. Because again, mobile games, they're made with the player. They're like created with the player having a low attention span in mind, essentially.
And here's what a turn of Duel Links looks like now.
So while combos are a lot longer, you have to realize that because Duel Links was made with the intention of it being a mobile game, that's why the timer is what it is. Because the average Duel Links player doesn't have the attention span that like a Master Duel player has, for example. Like, your players don't want to sit through long, complex combos, just the way it is.
It's not exactly comparable, is it? But why has the game changed so much? Well, as it turns out, we've been getting a lot of combo-heavy archetypes added to the game for the past couple of years, actually. Stuff like Predator Plants, Salamangreat, Crystal Beasts, Time Thieves, Tri-Brigade, Dragon Maid, Infernobles, Boral Link, which is kind of a Dragon Link kind of type of deck, Dark Fluid Link, which is basically Dragon Link but it's Cyburst monsters, and Sanavalon, just to name a few. These are all archetypes that have come up and been more or less meta relevant within the past year or so, and I've been forgetting a bunch of these that are probably even more combo intensive than some of these here. And this is only the natural progression of Duel Links. If main box patterns are to be believed, we're gonna get Spring Guns added to Duel Links in the next main box, which is an archetype that I actually really enjoy, but that I'm not gonna be able to play because, unfortunately for me, it is also a very combo heavy kind of deck. So with the timer going against me, I feel like I'm gonna have two opponents anytime I try to play this. deck. It's not just Pringans, there are so many modern Yu-Gi-Oh decks that just take a lot of time to perform their turn 1 combos, which can be incredibly flexible, vary a lot from game to game, heck completely change depending on the kind of interaction that your opponent has, and these modern Yu-Gi-Oh decks all require a decent amount of time not only to set up their combo, but also to interact with their opponent during their turn.
And he lists a lot of like combo decks here, such as Mathmech. This is Punk, Chimera, Rescue Ace. I know you can't see this, but this is Drytron. That's Sprite. That's Tearlaments. That's Pearly, Goatee, and this one's Spiral. So he did list a lot of combo decks, which is fine. But like the way to better balance these combo decks in a Duel Links setting without a ban list hitting them is because of that timer. The timer is essentially not only a win condition, but also a way to better balance these combo decks from getting too out of hand. Because if you're playing a combo deck, right, you have to accept that you're going to be pressed for time. That's just the way it is in Duel Links.
Mostly. That's just what Yu-Gi-Oh is nowadays. It just is a bunch of combo heavy decks showing off, popping off, and then preventing your opponent from doing the same, which is a problem, I guess, but it's not the topic of this video.
Mekklord, you fail to consider that maybe if you practice your deck against the NPCs, you could get better doing the turn 1 combo, and just is really not the timer's fault that you can't do the turn 1 combo in time. And also, Mekklord, it's called Speed Duels, not take your sweet time duels. Mekklord, my deck doesn't time out, so clearly this is your deck issue and not Yu-Gi-Oh in general. No, but Mekklord, don't you know that a completely different game with much less rules and interactions as a completely different timer? Shut up. Everyone just shut up. Your arguments are pee-pee, poo-poo bad, and I'm gonna demonstrate that right now.
Here's reason why the anti-timer arguments that people keep bringing up anytime you mention that the timer is problematic don't actually make sense whatsoever if you have a brain. Number one,
Here we go. So the anti-timer arguments.
Yu-Gi-Oh is not just a game where you perform a turn 1 combo and then that's it, that's the whole game.
Yu-Gi-Oh is not just one turn combos. Like, I mean, I'm literally playing the most interactive deck, i.e. Altergeist. So I'm here interacting with my opponent. So
it's not just a Duel Links problem either. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players just seem convinced that the entire game can just be summed up by goldfishing and making the
goldfishing
most elaborate, powerful turn 1 combo, and your opponent's just gonna let you do it. You know, they're just gonna watch you perform your combo and not try to hand trap you, not have board breakers or anything. And you're gonna go like, wow, I built a really strong Lego castle. Nobody can break my Lego castle. But sometimes you don't even get to be the player that builds the Lego castle.
I don't get to build a Lego castle. I wish. I mean, my quote-unquote Lego castle is like Link Haribo set 3 pass with a multi-faker in hand. So good luck breaking down my Lego castle.
Going first. So what's even the point of pretending like turn 1?
Good part is I don't care that much about effect Veiler, so there's that.
On combos is all that Yu-Gi-Oh is about. And because Yu-Gi-Oh and even Duel Links is not about building a turn 1 board that is completely unbreakable and performing your combo in the most optimal way, playing against NPCs and practicing your turn 1 combo is basically the equivalent of playing chess against an empty chair. Like, sure, it is very important that you do know how your deck works and you do know the optimal combos and stuff, but that's not all that matters to Yu-Gi-Oh or even Duel Links. Which leads me to my next point. You should have time to think about your interactions and your opponent's interactions. Wow, isn't that a wild concept? I don't know if you've noticed, but Yu-Gi-Oh is a 2-player game, which means that on top of you, there's another player that also gets to play cards and react to the stuff that you do, and maybe even try to prevent you from doing the stuff that you want to do. Wow, that's called a 2-player game. Check them out. In the case of Yu-Gi-Oh, the stuff that you want to do. Wow.
Yu-Gi-Oh is a 2-player game, but I feel like against some decks, it's kind of like a 1-player game because you set up these obnoxiously broken end boards to the point where your opponent can't play the game, if you get what I mean. because they didn't let me play cards, man. I want to play cards just as much as my opponent does.
Wow, that's called a two-player game. Check them out. In the case of Yu-Gi-Oh, very specifically, interaction can take many forms and can raise just as many questions. How do I play around Effect Veiler if I decide to play around Effect Veiler at all? Which combo line am I going for if I'm playing a non-linear combo deck to begin with in regards to what my opponent can do to actually disrupt me or not? At which point do I decide to activate my interaction? Do I play it now or do I hold it in order to get a better value later on during the duel?
And to answer all of these questions as you're playing the game, like all of these thoughts should be going through your minds like as you play. Like you should with Duel Links being a speed duel setting, you should not be sitting there, thinking about your interactions. It should already be going through your mind as you're playing the game. Like as I'm playing, like the thoughts like running through my mind are like, how do I play around getting hit by Effect Veiler? What hand traps my opponent? What hand traps might I can't talk. What hand traps might my opponent have? Do they have Effect Veiler? Do I see any delays? Like there's so many thoughts like going through my mind, so like I don't have to waste extra time like thinking about like potential interactions that I might want to use. Like when do I use my back row? When do I activate multi-faker, etc., etc. This is not a timer issue, but more like a deck issue on like where like on how knowledgeable you should be on your deck, knowing when to use your interactions when your opponent does something. Like this is not a timer issue. You just have to know how your deck works at that point. So I kind of disagree with this point here.
But again, that's not a Duel Links exclusive thing, that's just Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. Which leads to my third anti-timer argument. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just a bunch of combo-heavy decks nowadays. That's how it is.
I mean, he is right. He is right here. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a bunch of combo-heavy decks. And if you play Master Duel, you got like Snake Eye, Fiendsmith Snake Eye, and like, what else? Tier Elements, I think. I don't know about tier elements. I'll have to ask my good buddy Sean Matry there. He's a tier element master.
Deal with it. I just showed you so many recent combo-oriented decks, and that's not even half of it. There's still so many that I didn't even put in this picture because I got lazy. I find it very funny that the people that keep bringing up these anti-timer arguments like, oh, the timer is just fine, Mekklord, you don't need to increase it or whatever.
Practice your combo deck against an NPC first if you're struggling to play it in 180 seconds for one turn. Most decks do the same combo over and over again, every game with slight variations.
Are the same people that play low effort decks and play in low ranks, or even both, to be honest.
Shorter timer, less time for them to solitaire turn 1. More likely to lose to time on turn 3 onwards.
Have you actually ever tried playing a combo deck, or are you just here to whine about solitaire while playing Magic Spectres or something?
I just don't want to wait. Boomer brains struggle to do basic turn 1 Salama in great combo for 10 mins. Games should reward you for thinking fast like rapid chess.
On the other side of this argument, there's the fact that the current Duel Links World Champion Shelmy has recently lost a tournament due to that very same timer issue.
But this point...
And here, Mekklord is going to play a clip. I'll let that clip play out. I'll let that clip play out.
Our opponent has no interruptions other than a potential hand trap. Once again, however, I highly suspect that Shelmy is going to be up against the timer here. We're going to attack 1, attack 2. And then sure enough, you're going to see the time limit win, likely triggered from a hand trap in Shelmy's hand. Very unfortunate. Unfortunately, modern decks in Duel Links can simply run up against the timer. Even when you're not taking that much time to actually think about your plays, it can be extremely rough. And yeah.
So what, are you going to tell the world?
Be extremely rough. And yeah.
Grand Harrier actually makes a really good point here, and that modern decks do have that problem of like running into the timer and like not having enough time, but like that's just the risk you take playing a combo deck in a speed duel setting. You have to play fast. You have to know your opponent's interactions. Like those thoughts need to be circling through your mind as as you're dueling. Like, it's not a timer issue. You have to know how your deck works at that point. And if you don't, you just have to kind of accept that the 180 seconds is just there to, like, you're just going to be punished for playing a combo deck. It's just how it is.
So what, are you gonna tell the world champion that they need to get good at the game? Before you do that,
I don't think Shelmy needs to quote unquote get good at the game because he's the world champion. But, like, if he lost to the timer, he should have, like, I don't know, he should have played faster. He should have, like, done his combos faster and, like,
Can you tell me how many Duel Links World Championships you've won? Just out of curiosity. Alright, here's how we actually make the Duel Links timer more bearable and better for everyone involved. Solution number 1, you start a duel with 240 seconds instead of 180.
I don't like the solution. Starting the duel with 240 seconds just makes duels way too long, and I don't want. And as someone that has a pretty low attention span in terms of duels, I don't want Duel Links turning into Master Duel Solitaire. So that's a no for me, Chief.
That's an additional minute for you to perform.
That's an additional minute that the duel is going to last. And as you're gaining more time with each turn passing back, that just makes for duels, like, lasting longer and becoming more miserable. That's literally all it's gonna do. It'll make combo decks more solitaire while making other decks, like, I don't want to say worse, but it'll just make solitaire, like, more prevalent, if that makes sense.
Your turn 1 combos and be left with enough time that you can still play the game on follow-up turns. Solution number 2, you get 5 seconds back for every game action performed.
This could work, but, like, as I said, the timer in of itself is already a win condition. So if your opponent is on a combo deck, to play your outs. Like, your opponent could just simply time out. It's just the nature of the game. That's just how it is.
Which is something that combo decks are gonna really appreciate, because that means that you don't eat into your timer as much. It's an either-or situation. I'd be fine with either of these solutions being put in place, or both of them, but definitely one of them needs to be added to Duel Links, in my opinion. Here's a third solution. You should always be able to start your turn with 2 minutes on the clock.
I don't know about that. Like, why should I always start the turn with, like, full seconds on my clock, therefore removing the win condition of the timer?
2 minutes, I feel, is enough time that you can still think about follow-up players and how to close the game in the most optimal way if possible, without being actually too pressed for time that you do silly misplays and mess up.
That's what the timer is for. It's there to pressure you into making these silly misplays and to pressure you into messing up. Because, again, the timer is a win con, remember.
And eventually lose the duel. And last but not least, for anyone who is super concerned about
Speed Duel.
Oh, but Mekklord, if you had too much time on the timer, people are just gonna rogue because this is what toxic people do. How about you add an activated check just like Master Duel? Master Duel does this thing where if you...
This one I definitely want. Please add an activity check. It's so annoying having your opponent just go AFK on you, do nothing, and, like, both of you have to sit there, like, being held hostage in one duel until your opponent's timer drops to 0. Just add an AFK checker, man. It's not hard.
If you stay idle for too long, you just lose the game instantly. In conclusion for this entire video, the timer as it currently exists in Duel Links and has existed since the very release of the game, which was, like, oh my god, 7 years ago, is way too punitive for combo heavy decks at the moment.
That's the point of the timer, though. It's there to pressure you into playing fast.
Which makes sense, because that timer was never designed with combo heavy decks in mind to begin with.
The timer was designed not for combo heavy decks, but for the attention span of the average mobile player. Because if you're playing, like, a mobile game, you're going to have a very low attention span. It's just how mobile games are designed.
This being said, combo decks are the future of Duel Links. Modern archetypes are being designed to be very combo-centric, and as they're getting added to Duel Links, that doesn't really change. Even if they're missing pieces, you still have to do combos in order to play the combo deck. People think the timer isn't an issue at the moment, or keep whining about,
Oh, the timer is not a problem. Playing NPC, yeah.
I've absolutely no credibility whatsoever, and they're just bad players, and I don't
I don't know about that. I mean, I said the timer isn't an issue, and I gave credibility in this video. So, and as for bad players, I mean, I have multiple King of Games entries.
even feel bad saying it. If you want to challenge me on that fact, square up and fight, bitch. I
I'm
can't believe
squaring
that I was
up.
saying this, but Master Duel does a better
I'm squaring up, all right.
job with its timer than Duel Links. Master Duel is doing something better than Duel Links.
Well, at the same time, Master Duel has like longer combo decks, though. Like you have like Drytron, you have Tier Laments. Duel Links doesn't have these combo decks, or if they do, they're like you have like a skill to like fix it. Like think Mayakashi, think Shiranui. Like you have. I mean, Mayakashi does it best by letting you like use your skill to like send all of your Mayakashis to the grave. So like you don't have to do that long synchro summon combo.
And this
But
is
yeah, Master Duel just has like longer combos. That's just the way it is. Duel Links doesn't.
the game that has taken years to realize that Maxi might have been a problem card all along. Oh god, please don't let the comment sections turn into a discussion about a trading system of crafting.
Off topic, but Master Duel did finally hit max C to limit 2. So
Thank you for watching this video, everyone. Hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that I managed to convince you that the timer in Duel Links is pee poo poo bad. If you like my content,
and that's it. So in conclusion, do I think the current timer in Duel Links is bad? I don't think so. Fix here. So yeah, personally, I don't think the timer is an issue in Duel Links because, as I said, it's meant to pressure you into playing fast because this is Speed Duels. This is not Master Duel, it's Speed Duel. And first and foremost, as I've said, Duel Links is a mobile game, and the average like mobile player has very low attention span. So, players don't want to sit there for like 30 minutes waiting for the opponent to finish their turn. And that's, I don't know, like increasing the timer is just going to lead to like matches getting stale, getting boring, and like people are just going to like not enjoy the game as much. And Duel Links is supposed to be enjoyable. That's just how the game is designed, man. So if you enjoyed the content, drop a like, drop a sub, drop Mekklord a sub too, because it's his video. So I'm just sort of reacting to it, giving my 2 cents. But yeah, if you enjoyed this content, drop a like, drop a sub, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys thought. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Also, follow my good buddies like Sean Matry, Steven Freshy. I'll link their channels in the description below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Crimson signing out.